Everybody, Kyle Lawson with Matt Wenzel outside Spartan Stadium with our three big questions for this week: Michigan State versus Indiana. Question one, looking back to last week, biggest story I think out of the Minnesota win is the Michigan State run game is back, or they had a good game, 200 plus yards. Is that enough to convince you though that this running game is back? I mean, they had struggled for 5 games, they had one good one. I mean, what do we expect going forward there?
Well, it's definitely a positive sign. I mean, if you look back, LJ had a career high 194 rushing yards. Madre London had 74. Both scored on the ground. They had 3 rushing touchdowns overall in one game, which I think the 3 games combined previously, they only had 1 rushing touchdown, and that was from Brian Lewerke. So, yeah, real positive. I mean, they obviously found something in the toss sweep against Minnesota because they just hammered them with that. So is it back? It's definitely a good sign. I mean, we'll see what happens, moving forward. But Indiana coming up this weekend, kind of bottom of the conference for the most part. I think 11th in rush defense. So that's probably a good sign for Michigan State.
Yeah, I did think that, especially LJ Scott individually in the rushing game overall, kind of needed a game to get them going, get their confidence going. I think their offensive line is getting better. Look at a guy like Kevin Jarvis, who's been playing as a true freshman in there. I think he played better. So I don't think we're going to do that every week, but I do think that we're going to start seeing games consistently better than we did the first 4. Question number 2, biggest negative from Saturday is that fourth quarter defense turning a potential 23-6 game into a 30-27 win. How much does that concern you?
I mean, if you see it become an ongoing trend, I think that would be a concern. 1 week, maybe, like Mark had said, he thought maybe his guys got in there and just thought the game was over. If you go back prior to Saturday, Michigan State had only allowed 20 points total in the fourth quarter, and 14 of those were one was a fumble return and the other was a kickoff return. So their defense had only given up 2 field goals in the entire fourth quarter all season. They gave up 3 touchdowns on Saturday, all passing touchdowns. Maybe it was a 1 week thing. Maybe these guys were ready to call it a night, go with home. But
it was cold and wet. I can attest to that. But to me, it was the mark of a young team, just kind of letting their foot off the gas a little bit. You look at guys like Josiah Scott, who kind of faded a little bit. True freshmen playing out there. Some other guys with some missed tackles. So it had the marks to me of some freshman mistakes. But I think the good news if you're a Michigan State fan is A, they survived it. And B, I don't think this group has made a lot of the same mistakes twice. I think they've been a group that's learned from them. So maybe it happens again, but I'd be surprised, especially at that level, if it happens again. Question number 3, Indiana this week. People are going to look at 0-3 in the Big Ten, but those 3 losses are against Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. Arguably the 3 best teams, or 3 of the best teams in the Big Ten East. So how good is this team? Are they better than their record, or are they what the record says?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're bad changes, like anybody. Defensively, with Tom Allen being the first-year guy, they've been better defensively. I mean, they're not at the top of the conference or anything, but they're 0-3 in the Big Ten, but their 3 losses are Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. But they took Michigan to overtime this past week. I mean, that was, I think they were down, and really watch it, but they were down, I think, 10 in the fourth quarter and came back and forced OT. So, I mean, that's a gritty young team, or a gritty team overall. That's what you want to see out of a group under a first-year coach. So, yeah, I mean, this isn't one you're going to mark off on the schedule for Michigan State as a W and look ahead to the following.
This has been so typical Indiana for me recently. They're kind of always the bridesmaid team. I don't think I'm the first one to use that saying with them, yeah. But they've played with so many good teams over the last couple of years, but they don't really have that huge breakthrough win. And until they really get that, I mean, they beat Michigan State last year, and everyone thought that was a good win, and that wasn't really a good win. So until they really break through and start beating these teams with any sort of regularity, and they've done this to Michigan State too. When Michigan State was good, they've come pretty close to beating them. So I think they're a team that can compete with you, but I'm not really convinced they're a team that's really ready to come in and pull an upset at Spartan Stadium at this point. That'll do it for this week. 3:30 kickoff Saturday here at Spartan Stadium, and check mlive.com/Spartans for all your coverage.